does it mean to be chosen? Chosen doesn't always mean life is easy. Chosen means you survive what was meant to break you. Chosen means your existence itself is a proof of strength. Chosen means the world cannot move forward without you. When you look at our history as Black Americans, not just our pain, but our power, it becomes clear that we aren't ordinary. We are a divine people with a purpose. Now, let's talk about the first section of it. Now, there's a proof in our survival, right? Think about it. A people stolen from their homeland, stripped of identity, language, family, history, and God, beaten, enslaved, dehumanized for centuries. Yet here we are, still standing, still breathing, still creating, still influencing the world. Most civilization collapsed under half of what we went through. But we didn't disappear. We multiplied. We evolved. We became stronger. That's not random. That's chosen strategy. Now, let's talk about our cultural and global impact. Now, tell me this. How can a people that have nothing, right? It means a people have nothing but they create everything. Come to think about it. Music, we bettered it. Jazz, blues, gospel, rock, hip hop, R&B, all rooted in Black American soul. Now, fashion trends, our styles run the culture. Slang, the world talks like us. Entertainment, they study our rhythm, our flavor, our charisma. Sports, we dominated it. Innovation, Black Americans have invented technology people use every single day. How is it that the same people who we are not supposed to be anything ended up shaping the entire world? Chosen ones don't ask for influence, they naturally have it. Now, let's talk about the spiritual aspect of it. I mean, the spiritual power, right? Black American didn't just survive physically, we survived spiritually. They try to destroy our spirit, but still we praise. They try to break our minds, but still we create. They try to erase our dignity, but still we walk with pride. We turned pain into power. We turned trauma into talent. We turned suffering into soul. That level of spiritual resilience isn't normal. That's divine. Now, why we threaten the entire system? Why we threaten everyone? Why do you think society works so hard to suppress us? Because when chosen people realize who they are, they can no longer be controlled. Education system erases us. Media demonizes us. Economics disadvantages us. Laws target us. Yet still we rise. When the world fears your awakening, it's because your power is undeniable. Now let me send this message to Black Americans, right? Let me say this to you all. Just watch these videos, right? I'll be back with the message I have for you. Kindly share this video. Do not pass. Watch these videos till the end.
Let's talk about this fishing boat that got blew up in international waters by our military at the hands of Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth. Okay. Now, on this boat, it was fishermen. Okay. And after this boat was struck, there were two survivors. And Pete Hegseth gave the orders to finish the job, right? Which is a international war crime and an American military war crime. It's illegal. Okay. Murder, right? And rumor has it that Hegseth gave these orders to a black admiral first. Okay. Admiral Halsey, right? Or Halsey. Okay. And Admiral Halsey refused those illegal orders, right? And shortly after that, he resigned. Okay. back in October, I believe it was, when he first resigned, okay? Officially December 15th, I believe. But Admiral Bradley agreed to carry out those orders, right? So based off of what Admiral Halsey did, okay, that brought me back to this theory that I have and have had for a while now. Because if you think about it, all of the evil and corrupt and chaos that America has caused across this world, right? Why haven't nobody sent no nukes over here? Okay. And based on my theory, it ain't because they scared, right, of getting nuked back, right? They have attacked America in that manner because black people are the moral fiber of this country. And not only the moral fiber of this country, we are the spiritual protection of America. That's right, I said it. We are the real protectors of America, spiritually and cosmically. We the shield, not the government. We are the proof that America can produce something beautiful despite being built off wickedness. You hear me? Now that's cosmic contradiction right there. And contradiction has metaphysical consequences. Black culture is basically a global religion at this point. And the people around the world that hate America love Black America. You know why? Because Black culture is the world's culture. And attacking Black America is basically like attacking the source code of modern human expression. We are the world's favorite energy source, right? We are the moral engine of a nation that will otherwise, without us, be known as just having raw power and being greedy. The spirit of America ain't on Capitol Hill. The spirit of America is in Detroit, Chicago, Atlanta, Houston, Oakland, St. Louis, so on and so forth. We are the last chance for America to have a soul. And that's why they ain't bombed this motherfucker yet.
You want to know how and why Black Americans, the real Israelites, the real Jews, the real Indigenous Americans, you want to know why the Most High chose us specifically to be the people, to be a light to the world, to bring everyone else into worshiping our Father? Because you can't make up a heart like this. Our core, our nature, we want to get along with everybody. We want to get along with everybody, right? If people are nice to us, we fold. That's the spirit. We're unique in that way compared to other nations, because the other nations, they don't give a F-U-C-K. They do what they do. They W-A-R against us being the chosen people regardless. Us going through what we went through, us being able to have the eyes to see and the ears to hear that was bestowed upon us from our Heavenly Father, right? It was bestowed upon us from our Heavenly Father. We're still the loving people. Why do you think they've worked so hard to demonize us? Because they know we're suckers at heart, bro. They know we are the children. They know Black Americans are the children of the living God. They know that. This is why they work so hard and put so much money behind our less than 1% of reprobated minded, to make it seem like we're all like, and we're not. That's not our heart. And this is how you know that we were chosen to be the head. We've always were the head. Because even in our plight, even in our punishment, even in our even being prisoners of war, even in our captivity, right? The whole world is against us, and we still, all people got to do is just be nice to us, and we fall, because that's who we are. That's really who we are. And what better people to rule earth in this wicked, satanic world? We fold. It don't matter what the other nations do to us, bro. Right? It don't matter. No matter what's going on, right? Only thing we just want this world to love us when it's clear it doesn't. And it's even kind of WORSE for the ones who don't have the eyes to see, because they don't have an explanation for why these things happen to us. The enlightened, the real 1%, the remnant within the remnant, we know precisely why. We were told from the heavens why. We didn't wake up one day and just... No, this is heavenly. You either got the downloads or you don't. Or you don't. I'm grateful to have gotten the downloads, bro. It's that golden ticket. So it's like having a golden ticket to the ark. It's a spiritual ark. It's a spiritual ark. Right? It's a spiritual ark. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's crazy. Because we really, sometimes I'm not supposed to be posting, but it is what it is. All praise to the Most High.
You might have cracked the code with this one, bro. I always wonder, where are the Africans with the passed down stories about an ancestor that was taken away? Millions? And none of them have family stories looking for their ancestors in America? See, this the one right here, man. He might have cracked the code with this one. So, everybody knows that we're not African. Everybody knows who we are. Africans know we're not Africans. Asians know we're not Africans. Everybody knows who we are. But here go the bigger question. Why are we that important that our identity has been hidden so far and so deep to the point where only this generation is really understanding what's going on? What makes us so important to hide our identity like that? Ask yourself that question.
Okay, let me walk you through something most people have never even allowed themselves to imagine. If America ever had a Black Truth and Reconciliation Commission, like a real one, with teeth, this country would not come out the same on the other side. Like, at all. And once you understand what it would actually require, you start to see why we never had one. A Black TRC wouldn't start with speeches. It would start with evidence. And I'm talking the things they kept buried for decades. Plantation ledgers showing forced breeding, banks redlining maps, university records of enslaved labor, medical files from forced sterilization, police logs from broken investigation, FBI files on everyday Black organizers, corporate profit sheets built on prison labor, federal memos that literally mapped out discrimination. And before anybody talks about healing, we'd finally get the truth. On record. In broad daylight. America loves amnesia. A TRC doesn't let you forget. And now this is where South Africa comes up, because we know they had their TRC. Because South Africa did try something that most countries never attempt. They put apartheid on the record. They forced public testimony. They made the violence undeniable. That took courage and it mattered. But here's the part that people don't like to talk about. A lot of perpetrators confessed. A lot of people cried. A lot of people went home afterwards. Very few lost wealth. Very few lost land. Very few lost political power. So what South Africa showed us is this. Truth without consequence doesn't dismantle systems. It documents them. And that's not a failure of the people who testified. That's a failure of accountability. Now, in a Black TRC, nobody's dragging random neighbors to microphones. We're talking institutions being forced to say the quiet part on camera. Police departments, school boards, state governments, banks, hospitals, universities, intelligence agencies, corporations. Every single one would have to answer one question. Well, I guess two, really. How did you harm Black people? Where are the receipts? And they wouldn't be allowed to dodge it. Imagine the elders, the people who lived through Jim Crow and sundown towns, even though I know they still exist. Redlining, housing discrimination, medical abuse, COINTELPRO. Finally, sitting down and saying, this is what happened to us. This is what they did to our family. This is what they took. This is what we survived. And nobody interrupts them. Nobody demands proof. Nobody calls it the past. The testimony itself becomes the archive. You can't gaslight a nation when the whole country is listening. And if the truth is on the table, the solutions have to be real too. Reparations wouldn't look like, here's a one-time check. They would look like returning stolen land, eliminating debt caused by discriminatory lending, restoring generational wealth that was blocked, rebuilding intentionally underfunded schools, investing in Black maternal health, redirecting public money into Black communities, dismantling policies that were built to cage or control us, A black TRC wouldn't ask what's fair. It would ask what was taken and then calculate from there. And here's the part nobody's ready for. After a real Truth and Reconciliation Commission for Black Americans, this country will never again be able to say we didn't know. It wasn't that bad. It was a long time ago. Not all institutions were involved because everything would be on record. The truth would finally outrank the myth. And once the truth is public, America doesn't get to hide behind innocence anymore. So yeah, if this country ever held a Black Truth and Reconciliation Commission, like a real one, it wouldn't just be about looking back. It would force this nation to admit what it did, what it built, what it stole, and who paid the price. It would change how we understood the past and what we tolerate in the present and what we demand going forward. And honestly, that's exactly why we've never had one. Because the moment Black truth becomes official record, America has to stop pretending. And that would change everything. Now imagine if we actually got that. What questions would you ask? What would you want to see? Let me know in the comments.
I challenge Black Americans to wake up to your true history because your quarrel is not with white men.
For one, our quarrel isn't with any race of man, but our biggest quarrel is with ourselves and other Black Americans. But let's let her continue.
Wake up to who publishes these books and keeps us warring with one another. Christians versus Christians, right? Christians versus Muslims. Wake up and learn the true history of slavery, because that wasn't exactly a white men sport, okay? Jewish people were the ones that were trading us. Jewish people were in control of the slave trade. They've buried a lot of it, but it's there, and you can find it.
Okay, so she says Jewish people controlled the slave trade. What does control mean? Well, first off, the Atlantic slave trade was controlled by state-backed empires. The Portuguese, the Spanish, the French, the Dutch, and of course, the British. These governments, they chartered slave trading companies. They protected routes with navies. They collected taxes and customs. They also issued licenses and monopolies. The Jews were not controlling the slave trade. Now, did some Jewish individuals participate in the slave trade? Yes, absolutely. Many owned slaves or participated as merchants, but so did Christians, Muslims, Africans, free Black traders, and even indigenous people. But let's make no mistake, participation is not control. If participation is control, then everybody controlled slavery. The records, they're not hidden. We have ship manifest, port logs, insurance records, tax rolls, company charters. If Jewish people controlled the slave trade, it would show up in like ownership percentages, company leadership, shipping fleets, insurance underwriting, naval enforcement. It doesn't. But pay attention because Candace was very vague with what she said. Notice how she didn't give you any specifics. There wasn't anything to back what she said. She didn't mention a country, a time period, a percentage, a specific institution, or even a primary source. Why? Because the moment you start to get specific, her claim starts to collapse. Her saying it's buried shifts the burden of proof. Instead of proving the claim she made, now it's hidden. So then the lack of evidence becomes the evidence. And then if you disagree, you are ignorant or you're complicit in the cover-up. In real history, claims are actually backed by proof. In conspiracy thinking, claims are protected by suspicion. Yeah, I think she wasn't specific for a reason because, again, if she gets specific, it's easy to disprove. If she never gets specific, it's much harder to disprove. I think it's morally bankrupt. I can already see some people in the comments, oh, you're defending Jews, $7,000. Here's my question. Do you want the truth? Do you want reality? Or do you just want what makes you feel good? And no, Jews aren't paying me to make this video. I'm calling out lies, and I don't think Black Americans should be listening to Candace Owens. Anyway, just a reminder, I have a free email newsletter. Send it out every morning. Link in my bio.
And that is because there were people in your bloodline that knew that you were the one that God has chosen to break the generational curse. They also knew that once you discovered who you are, and once you said yes to God and understood your assignment, they knew that you would detach yourself from them. So they tried to prevent that from happening. There has been many times where they did witchcraft on you. They chanted negativity towards you. They tried to keep you bound in relationships, toxic friendships. They tried to keep you stuck financially so you could only rely on them. Therefore, you would not have anywhere to go if God was to detach you from them. They did everything in their power to suppress and oppress you, to make you feel like you were insane. They either tried to get you locked in jail, they tried to kill you, they tried to poison you. On top of them doing all of this, they tried to make you feel less than, less confident, in order to keep you stuck.
Every black ethnicity group holds some type of prejudice or some type of stereotypes against black Americans, but then they come here and assimilate into black culture and take advantage of all the sacrifices we made. Black people would not even have rights in this country if MLK didn't think to march. If Malcolm X ain't think to speak the fuck up.
And the people had to riot after.
But everybody always got to say something about black Americans. But if black Americans didn't stand up and fight for all of our black asses, we would have nothing as a whole.
I disagree. I feel like
Hold on, nigga. You can't disagree on reality.
I feel like the black people in the Caribbean, we freed ourselves. I know my Haitian.
Yes, but no. We're not talking about the Caribbean.
We have left
America. We have left the Caribbean.
In America, yeah, you did your
But
thing.
you cannot come and assimilate to America and then think that you're better than black Americans and hold this prejudice against black Americans. When we created the conditions for you to come over and live comfortably in this country.
I wouldn't say comfortably, but I appreciate your sacrifice.
Being lynched.
So you think if Martin Luther King never decided to get his ass up and say something is wrong with this shit, you don't think that we would still be under Jim Crow law?
He got shot, was taken to jail.
You don't think that they would still be lynching niggas and that would be completely legal and they would put your ass on a community block and invite all their motherfucking wives and children to watch them hang your ass and then skin you and then turn your motherfucking hair
into a couch
and skin into furniture? You think they wouldn't do that if MLK didn't?
Why did the so-called Native Americans just take the money and go on about their business and create casinos and just let the black Americans to struggle? Now you allowed these settlers to come over here like they doing over there in Gaza, take your land, harm your family members, unalive your family members, and tell you to get out, Trail of Tears, and then they give you some type of treaty that they continuously broke and then shipped y'all off to the other side of America, gave y'all some casinos, a little bit of money, and y'all said, F the rest of the people, F the slaves, F the black people. That always didn't sit right with me, with these Native Americans. How native are y'all anyway? TikTok, this is just for entertainment purposes only. Kicks, giggles, and jokes. None of what I'm saying here is true. But I'm just curious to know, what type of agreement did y'all Native Americans have with these settlers to where y'all can allow slavery to go on for hundreds of years? I know y'all were being harmed and unalived as well, but y'all got y'all casinos now. Looks like a little reparations to me. But y'all just let that racism just continue on with America as long as y'all got y'all casinos. Child, y'all ain't fooling me. If black people ain't free, ain't none of us gonna be free.
Can we stop pretending that black Americans are new to this? Because before 2020, before 2024, before October 7th, we understood the assignment. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Yes, we know that. That wasn't just poetry. That was a strategy. Y'all continue to bring up MLK and Malcolm. Okay, let's talk about Malcolm. Malcolm didn't see Palestine as a foreign issue. He understood that white supremacy is global, with borders, with bombs, with banks. It's a global system with badges. That's why he reframed Black America as a human rights issue, not just a civil rights debate. Same framework the Palestinians use, same framework that the Sudanese and the Congolese are forced into. Different locations, same machinery. And the Black Panther Party didn't water this down. They sharpened it. The Panthers openly aligned with Palestinian liberation movements. They studied occupation, militarized police, surveillance, and counterinsurgency because they were living it too as Black Americans. COINTELPRO here, military occupation there. Same empire, same fear, the organizing of oppressed people. And the Panthers were very clear. Jewish people were never the enemy. Imperialism is, white supremacy is, and white supremacy is global, worldwide. So when liberals tell Black Americans that the Palestine issue should be our only issue, should be our litmus test on who we vote for, those liberals are revealing how little they know about real liberation. Because if we cannot trust politicians to protect us here, while our rights are being erased in law, language, education, housing, healthcare, then what exactly are we being asked to sacrifice? And be honest, y'all are telling us they need to help the people over there. while our citizenship is being questioned. Our children are being criminalized. Our bodies are being policed and our labor is being quietly re-enslaved. Yes, we want liberation in Palestine and in Congo and in Sudan. The whole of Africa needs to be free of imperialism and of white supremacy. And we also want our children to be able to walk outside without being treated like contraband, without ice cream trucks circling our neighborhoods, and without blackness being written as disposable. We care about multiple things at once, and we always have. And that's why Black Americans are being attacked for supporting Jasmine Crockett. Not because we don't see her votes, we do, but because we see what she names. She names racism. She names white supremacy. She names authoritarianism to its face without flinching. And that matters because political power at home is how we pressure empire abroad. Malcolm X and the Black Panthers knew this. Yes, liberation is global, but it's fought locally. If Black Americans are erased, silenced, stripped of our rights, our safety, our voices, then we can't become better allies. We disappear. And disappeared people don't stop bombs. Organized, protected, and politically powered people do. So stop. Centering Black Americans is not selfish, and it should be number one on your litmus test, because it's how we build strength to fight for Palestine, Sudan, Congo, and everyone else oppressed by empire. Survival is not betrayal. It's the foundation. Because historically, when Black Americans thrive, so does everyone else. Because in the United States, Black Americans are at the bottom of the racial hierarchy by design. So that means when policies, protections, and material conditions improve enough to actually uplift Black people from the bottom of that racial hierarchy, then they're strong enough to lift everybody else too, because everybody else is above us. So your litmus test should be Black Americans, racism, white supremacy, and anti-authoritarianism. Fix it.
If watching what's happening now doesn't tell you the power of photography, let me tell you a name you were never supposed to learn. Florestine Perot Collins. And the second you hear what she did, you're going to wonder why her story wasn't front and center in every classroom. Because this woman wasn't just taking pictures. She was protecting Black dignity in a country that was actively trying to distort it. And she started doing it as a teenager. Florestine grew up in New Orleans in the early 1900s. A time when being a Black girl meant the world already had a script waiting for you. But she said absolutely not. By 14, she was already learning photography, studying light, practicing portrait setups, not for fun, but with intention. Because even that young, she understood something. Visuals shape memory. And Jim Crow just wasn't interested in showing Black people with dignity. She knew the power of an image before most people even understood the power of their own voices. But here's the part they don't tell you. Photography schools and white-owned studios in New Orleans, they refused to train Black girls. So Florestine, still a teenager, passed as white to get into a photography training program. Not for assimilation, not for proximity, but because it was the only way to access a profession that she planned to use for her community. She did what she had to do in a system designed to keep her out. And when she finally opened her studio, Black families didn't just walk in for portraits. They walked in for dignity. She photographed Black women with softness and poise. She captured Black children like they were sacred. She documented Black families as whole, proud, loving, images the outside world refused to produce. She wasn't simply clicking a camera. She was preserving our beauty in an era where mainstream images were designed to humiliate us. So when you look at her portraits, you can see the care. The polished presentation, the elegant poses, the attention to detail, the lighting that made Black skin glow instead of flatten. Florestine understood that white media was circulating demeaning images of Black people, caricatures, stereotypes, ridicule. So she used her studio to say no. This is who we are. That is not just art. That is resistance. She lived until 1988. Not distant history. It's the year I was born. And her name rarely appears in textbooks, even though her photographs are some of the most important visual records of Black middle-class life in early 20th century New Orleans. She documented a world America was determined not to see. And she did it quietly, steadily, with intention, with brilliance. With a camera she had to fight just to be allowed to hold. So yeah, when we talk about who shaped Black identity in the early 20th century, Florestine Perot Collins belongs on that list. A Black girl from New Orleans who looked at a camera and decided, my people deserve to be remembered with dignity. She didn't wait for permission. She didn't chase approval. She built an archive of us, the way we should have always been seen. Say her name. Florestine Perot Collins.
All right, racist.
They're warriors. From the very beginning, Black Americans have been a vital part of the American story, helping to make this the greatest nation in the history of the world.
Let's continue to correct the propaganda and the attempt at erasing the truth. Black Americans are not the descendants of the Indians in the history books. They are the Indians. The proof has been buried, but it's not gone. When Christopher Columbus washed up on these shores, lost and delirious, who did he write that he found? He called them Indios. He mapped a land he labeled India Superior, a territory that included Florida. He wasn't hallucinating an empty land. He was documenting people who were already there. These images can be found in Gran Canaria, Spain, at the Columbus Museum, Casa de Colón. And who were those people? They weren't the pale-skinned Siberians who crossed a land bridge, that's for sure. The historical records, the artwork from the era, the very descriptions, they detail people with dark skin, with hair textures that Europeans had never seen. They describe the original people as dark-skinned and woolly haired, the true owners of the soil. The people that Columbus met were Black Americans, the West Indians of the Caribbean, the Indians of the North and South American coasts. All of these territories were Black civilizations. Native Americans are the erasure. They are the last part of the destiny swap, a foreign invasive group from Siberia, and was grafted onto the identity of the people who were already here, while the original people were systematically reclassified, enslaved, and renamed to sever their claim to the land. The Indian Removal Act was a removal of Black indigenous nations. The face on the old nickel, the buffalo nickel, that proud profile was a Black indigenous man, an American Indian. Every time someone speaks about Native American history while pointing to a group that arrived later, they are perpetuating the final stage of the conquest, the theft of the victim's identity. They replace the people and the story. Black Americans are not a people without a land. They are the land. They are India Superior. They are the Indians that Columbus couldn't miss, and that every power since has tried to make you unsee. The map doesn't lie. The history books do.
Welcome back. Now, let me tell you the message I want to give Black Americans. So, let me say this directly to my people. You're not inferior. You're not forgotten. You're not a mistake of history. You are descendants of strength. You are walking evidence of divine purpose. You are the chosen ones of this era. But being chosen comes with responsibility. Should I tell you the responsibilities? Now, here's it. We must protect our unity. We must heal our trauma. We must love each other. We must support Black businesses. We must teach our children truth. Stop letting the world define us. Chosen people don't just exist, they lead. Do you get that? Now, Black Americans are not just a community. We are a miracle. We are a movement. We are a chosen nation within a nation. And the sooner we understand this, the sooner we unlock power. Now, let me tell you something. If you feel this message deep down in you, right, just type "we are chosen" in the comment section. Share this with someone Black who needs to hear it, please. And if you're proud to be Black, hit the like button and subscribe. Do not forget, this is my second account. I lost the other one. I'm trying to retrieve it. I haven't retrieved it, right? Because I'm here to uplift, awaken, and empower my people. That is what I'm here for. And they've been fighting me. They've been fighting my channels, right? Please kindly subscribe. I'm BJ, and remember, we are chosen. We are powerful. And our story isn't finished. If you like more of those videos, type in the comment section. Say, BJ, do more. Do more. Do not forget, my name is BJ. On Global Gist is BJ too. I'll see you next time. Stay bold, stay woke, and stay elegant. I love you all.